I know some of you guys have been looking for capture cards. Maybe you want to connect a console, maybe you want to connect a fancy DSLR camera to your PC. So you go searching for an Elgato Camlink only to find that they're all out of stock or super jacked up in price. Well, the guys over at a company called Cloner Alliance hit me up and they're all like, hey, yo, what it do, baby? We got all those sick new capture cards. Okay, they're a lot more professional than that. But they hit me up and they were like, we got this capture card. It's just as good as those Elgato capture cards, but we have one feature that they don't have. And that's that our capture card's actually in stock. It's called the Flint 4... Wait, that's upside down. It's called the Flint 4KP, does 1080p 60, has 4K pass-through, and it's plug and play. It doesn't need any drivers at all. So let's check out how good this guy stacks up against Elgato, as well as a bunch of other super cheap capture cards. So I do want to point out that yes, Cloner Alliance did send me this for free, but they're not paying me for this review, so for anyone who's thinking that I'm a shill, don't, okay? Let's start with the price. This thing costs $160, which is about $20 cheaper than the Elgato HD60S, which I believe to be the 4KP's closest competitor. I get it, $160 may still be a little bit pricey, so I will be going over some cheaper alternatives later, as well as showing some sample footage. But let's talk about the 4KP first. So it comes in this red box, and on the front of the packaging, it claims to do 1080p 60 and has ultra low latency. Opening up the box, you get a picture of this dude for some reason. You of course get the capture card itself, which is made out of this red plastic, but it doesn't feel cheap at all. This thing is well built. You do also get a bunch of adapters for connecting the capture card to your phone or to your PC via USB-C, a cable to connect the capture card to your PC, and an HDMI cable. There's no driver CD in the box, which I actually kind of like because I just wanted something that was plug and play anyway. Taking a look at the capture card itself, you've got an HDMI in port and an HDMI out port. Flipping it over, we do have a line out, a line in, and a mic jack for connecting either a microphone or a headset. And of course, you get a USB-C connector to connect to your PC. Setting up the capture card is super simple. You just plug it into your PC using the included USB-C cable. Then you take your source, so your console or your camera, and plug it straight into the HDMI in port. If you're connecting the console, you do also have the option of using the 4K pass-through to pass the signal to your TV, so you can play all of your games without any latency. Once it's connected to your PC, it's basically going to act like a standard webcam, so it's going to work in things like the Windows Camera app and Discord. But you're a gamer god, so what you're going to do is you're going to open up OBS, you're going to right click and add a video capture device, then in the drop down box, select live stream, live stream something? Yeah, live streaming video device. You can also set a custom resolution and frame rate and set it to 1080p 60 frames per second, which is the maximum resolution and frame rate that it supports. Now, unlike the Elgato capture cards, it doesn't actually capture audio by default, so you're gonna have to select use custom audio device, and then in that drop-down box, select the capture card. Then your stream will be able to hear your audio. All right, Mr. YouTube, stop with the clickbait already. I want to see some sample footage. Well, Richard, sir, let me let you in on a little bit of a secret. This entire video has been filmed using the Flint 4KP. Also, you have some anger management issues. Not only that, but the last 2 YouTube videos on this channel were also filmed using the 4KP. So, you just got pranked, son. Kobe. But needless to say, the video quality on this thing is excellent. Now, I know some of you guys still might be thinking, oh, this guy's a shill. How can we believe this guy is such a shill? How can we believe this guy is shilling ways? Look, why don't you guys decide for yourself? One of these is the Flint 4KP and the other is an Elgato HD60 Pro. Now, you tell me which you think is which. Well, this is a YouTube video, not a live stream, so you can't actually talk back to me. So the one on the left is the 4KP and the one on the right is the HD60 Pro. I'll let you guys judge the quality for yourself, but in my opinion, I think the 4KP actually holds up really well against the Elgato. Unfortunately, I don't actually have a Camlink to test, but judging by the fact that they're both made by Elgato and they're both 1080p 60, I can only assume that they look more or less similar. So if you're looking to see how the 4KP stacks up against the Camlink, well, this is the best comparison I can give you. But keep in mind the Camlink can also go all the way up to 4K 30, and both of these capture cards only go up to 1080p 60. So the 4KP is nice, but what about that $20 capture card that everybody on the internet is going crazy about? So let's plug this in and see what this looks like. So here we have that $20 unbranded capture card. It only goes up to 1080p 30, so if I like if I like wave my arms around, you can tell that the movement isn't as smooth. Also, don't ever make me do that again. Now, the colors on this thing are a little bit oversaturated and it's a little bit softer, but I think for $20, I think this is actually really good, and I can see why everybody's talking about this capture card. All right, so what about gameplay footage? I got a recording of Mario Kart 8, and I recorded it with 5 different capture cards. Of course, we have the 4KP and the Elgato HD60 Pro, as well as that $20 capture card, but let's also throw in this $70 4K HDMI game capture card 1080p HDMI to USB 3.0 live video capture card. And this $62 Wii Star capture card. I'm going to be labeling each of these capture cards A, B, C, D, and E, and we're gonna play a little game. I want you guys to go in the comments down below and rank each of these capture cards from what you think is the least expensive to the most expensive. Now, I'm saying we're gonna be playing a game, but really, I just wanna boost engagement on this video because as you guys all know that I'm a scumbag YouTuber and all I care about is my subscriber number. Switching over to capture card B, and I said card B, not Cardi B. I don't listen to her at all, so get that trash ass music out of my video. Now, as you're looking through these capture cards, I want you guys to pay attention to the colors, the sharpness, and the frame rate, because those are going to be the biggest differences between all of these capture cards. Moving on to capture card C, now I want you guys to shift your attention away and focus on the sheer lack of skill I'm displaying here. This might be the worst Mario Kart footage you've ever seen. Mario Kart Double Dash, more like Mario Kart Double Trash, am I right? Now I know this isn't Double Dash, but I've been waiting to use this joke for years, and this is really the best opportunity that I'm ever gonna get. Okay, now we're in capture card D, and at this point, I've really run out of things to talk about. My crippling social anxiety is taking over, and I'm about 5 seconds away from pulling out a paper bag and hyperventilating into it. But I'm not going to be doing that because thug life, son. Deal with it. And finally, we're on capture card E. This is the last capture card in our roundup. Now, hopefully by now you've laughed at least one of the various jokes that I made that I totally did not write down on a piece of paper. Absolutely not. I am a professional. There is no doubt about it. All right, so let's go through which one was which. Capture card A was the Elgato HD60 Pro. B was the $70 super long name capture card. C was the $20 unbranded 30 FPS capture card. D was the 4KP. And E was the $62 Wii Star capture card. Overall, I think these capture cards more or less met my expectations. We have the $20 capture card, which while it only ran at 30 FPS, it is only $20, and I think the colors were fine, so I don't think you're gonna do any better at this price point. We also had the $62 Wii Star capture card. Now, this one looked the most off out of all of them. It almost looked like it was recorded in composite, but it did go at a stable 60 FPS, and it was 1080p. So I think at this price point, it's not a bad option. Now the $70 capture card was interesting. It looked fine. The colors were a little bit washed out, but it wasn't super bad until it crashed constantly. Yeah, this one kept freezing up on me within like 2 minutes of plugging it in. So I don't know if it's just a problem with my unit. I know some people have bought this capture card and it's been working fine for them, but for me, yeah, I can't recommend this capture card at all. And then the best of the lot was, of course, the 4KP and the HD60 Pro. When I had these two side by side, I really couldn't tell the difference between these two. They were both fantastic. Okay, so back to the 4KP. Let's talk about the latency on this thing. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those testers to get accurate measurements on the latency, so if you want that, you can go watch the EposVox review. He goes into way more detail about this capture card than I'll be able to do. But what I did do was I got a microphone and recorded the sound coming out of my TV while recording in OBS, and then I went into my video editor and measured the difference between the sound. And in my super jank testing, I was getting about 3 to 4 frames of latency in a 60 FPS video, which to me is good enough if you want to play your games directly off the OBS preview window, but only if you're going to be playing like adventure games like Zelda or something. I would not play directly off the OBS preview window if you're playing games like a first-person shooter or something. However, I was able to win a game of Tetris 99 directly off the OBS preview window, so there's that, I guess. Now, in my few weeks of testing this capture card, there was one negative that I did experience, and that was the 4K pass-through. Now, I was able to get a 4K signal output to my TV using the 4K pass-through, and it definitely was 4K. However, the recording in OBS was all purple, like it was missing some colors. So yeah, it was basically unusable for me. I did contact Cloner Alliance and they got back to me and they told me that I should try turning HDR off on my camera and changing the color space, but I didn't really have those options on my G7, so I was still stuck with this purple image. But I did want to put that out there as a potential solution for anyone who buys this capture card and experiences the same thing as me. That being said, EpostVox did mention in his review that he couldn't get the 4K pass-through working whatsoever, so I don't really know what's going on there. But at the end of the day, I really don't think this is a huge deal because I don't imagine anyone really using the 4K pass-through anyway, since it only does 30 FPS. But as it turns out, Cloner Alliance actually did a refresh of the 4KP called the 4KP Plus, which does support 4K 60. So I don't even know why they sent me the 4KP. They should just send me the 4KP Plus so I can tell everyone, yeah, hey, this is a perfect capture card. It does cost $20 extra, but with the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever they're calling coming out, that are going to be supporting 4K, you might want to pick that one up just to future-proof yourself. However, if you don't care about 4K pass-through and you want to save yourself about $30, Cloner Alliance does make the Flint LX, which is $135, and it does 1080p 60 pass-through. Or you can pick up the Flint LXT, which is $130, but it doesn't have any pass-through at all. And if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same thing as this guy. This is the capture card that I've used for all of my YouTube videos before I use the 4KP. This thing is awesome. It does 1080p 60 and it looks identical to the Flint 4KP. The only problem is they stopped making these things. So I picked it up for like $100 and I've been wanting to tell people to buy this capture card, but they don't make it anymore. So if the Flint LXT is exactly the same thing as this guy, I can vouch for the quality of this thing. But yeah, there's a bunch of different options for capture cards that you can buy right now. Product links in the description box down below. You can also join the Discord. We have a gear recommendation section if you want to get help choosing a capture card or a camera or a microphone or literally anything for streaming. You can also check me out on Twitch. I stream 4 nights a week, but until next time, peace out, homies.